What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Totally Inspired with me, your girl Sibo Dube. I hope you've been having a great time and that wherever you are inspiring. Well, today we are going to have an interesting episode in which I'm going to share a personal experience. A lot of times I get asked the question, what are some of the challenges I've come across in my journey of leadership as a female in corporate? So today I'm going to do it in a very interesting way, as I'm going to tell you a personal story of something that I once encountered in corporate that made me wake up to realize that, sometimes you think that everybody wishes you well, and yet it's not necessarily the case. But before we get into it, please let's listen to our jingle as we prepare for the story time.
Hello, queens. Hello, phenomenal women. Hello, inspirational women. This is your girl, Sibo Dube. Welcome to Totally Inspired, a channel where we talk all things leadership and all things lifestyle. Before we get started, please hit the notification bell and the subscribe button, because you don't want to miss out on this content, which has been created with you in mind, so you can enjoy a full life. Because, girl, you deserve it.
So as you can see, I'm in a setting which is a little bit different today. I'm in a Peppa Pig themed room, and on the wall there, you'll see a picture of a ballerina standing on her toes. And that for me really symbolizes the way we have to play a balancing act in corporate. So as I said, this is going to be a story. So it's really story time. This is a real life experience. And it really, touches on my last episode on why women pull each other down. And I think in this case, on the story that I'm going to share with you, it was just a case of women. In this case, it was women, because it was more than one woman who actually didn't have the heart to support a younger woman coming into corporate. So this is how the story goes. So I had just graduated from university, and I was fortunate enough to actually, as my first job after I graduated, to actually head a department. So after I, started working in this organization, fresh from university, still quite impressionable, and looking forward to make a difference where I'd been employed. So I only had a team of one. There was one person that was reporting into me, and she was also a female. She was slightly older than me. Then the organization that I worked for also had a board, if I may call it that. These are the decision makers at the top. These are people who don't work day to day in the organization, but they make big decisions. So she so happened to know two women who were in the board. These two women publicly were advocates of women's rights, and they were fighting for women's rights. So as I carried on with my job, the lady who's also in my team then alerted me to something. She's like, I've been getting some kind of questions from two ladies in the board, and they've been asking me if I want your role. And they can make it happen for me. They can always find a way to get you out. And I was like, okay. When people have power, they can do all sorts of things. Anyway, I was like, okay, so now what did you say? And then she says, no, I told them that I'm okay in my role. If I need to find a different role, I'm happy to find another job. But she didn't think that was the right way of going about it. Then they're like, no, give it some thought, And then back then, people in the office had really depended a lot on landlines. One of the ladies then phoned her and said to her, by the way, that offer of ours still stands. So now I was sitting with her in the office, and then she signaled to me. She's like, go and pick up the phone on the other side and listen to this conversation. And this woman is going on. I'm listening and I'm hearing her. And she's going on and she's like, yeah, our offer still stands. If you still want that role, we can make it happen for you. It's so easy. We know how we can get rid of her and you can easily have the role. And this lady keeps on pressing and saying like, okay, give it some thought. You know, you could actually accelerate your career so fast, you'll be good. And then it ends there. And obviously, this lady refused the offer because I think I must say, I must applaud her really for her transparency and for looking out for me and just being that person who does the right thing and doesn't take an offer that comes in such a way. And then I met another of the two ladies in a social setting, and she's just making a conversation with me. Oh, so how are you finding your job? And I'm like, no, it's great. I'm enjoying it. It's a good learning opportunity for me as a new graduate. I'm learning a lot. And then she's like, so the last time I checked you on probation, have you been confirmed? And then I said to her, yeah, I have been confirmed. The probation went very well. I've done well in my first few months. And she's like, okay. And she leaves it there. And already at that time, I knew that, you know, she and her friend had been actually trying to plot that, you know, they get me out of the role. But to cut a long story short, I stayed in that organization for as long as I liked and for as long as I wanted. And I learned a lot. And then I later on got an opportunity with another organization altogether. I resigned at my own time and I moved on to a new role. But this story, I'm just telling it out there for both young and old. You know, there are people who are in power or people who have influence who might not wish you well. And when you are in corporate, just be sure that you are not naive. You actually are aware of the politics that is at play. I was so fortunate enough to have a woman who understood the importance of working together and doing things the right way and in a way of integrity. And she was very open and she turned down that offer. Can you imagine if she was not that type of person? You know, what could have potentially happened? Secondly, I would like to advise people who actually get opportunities that do not come their way in a legitimate way. Be careful of those opportunities because you never know what can happen. So imagine if this lady had agreed to the offer that was being made to her and she took it up. You know, what would have stopped those other ladies from plotting the same thing on her or getting her out of a job in a way that would not have been nice? So the second learning is that be careful of opportunities that come your way in an illegitimate way. And very disappointing, actually, is the fact that people will actually advocate for things publicly and say, I stand for women's rights, I stand for uplifting other women, when in reality, they are the ones who are doing the worst things in places where they've influence, where they're actually not doing what they say they're doing. They're not walking the talk. And don't take people at face value, in other words. And maybe another take out for me is for us women in leadership. When young people come into corporate, it's our duty to embrace them and make sure that they're comfortable and help them to succeed in our organizations and in corporate. That's one of the things I'm so passionate about, to see young people succeed. There I was in my early 20s, coming in my first job, and I'm coming into this place that is full of people that are very toxic, if I may put it that way, who actually don't wish you well. And these are women. These are people who should have held my hand and helped me to succeed in my role. And another point, like the final point, I want to go back to the colleague that I had who stood up and said no. I think it's important to learn to say no. When you are in corporate, you must stand up for the right thing so that tomorrow it's not you that finds yourself in a similar situation. And also, it's just the right thing to do. We need to look out for one another when we are in workspaces. Well, that's it for today. That was my story. And I hope you can also comment and tell us about some of the strangest experiences you've had in the workplace. I've just shared a story with you, which is something that happened in the early years of my career, still in my early 20s, coming in fresh into the workplace. And I came across people who were not really nice. And thankfully, I came out of that situation unharmed. Thank you for watching this video. Please do visit my other videos, and please do remember to subscribe, most importantly, so that whenever I'm loading something, you are kept up to date. You put the notification bell on there, and then you'll get to know when I've got something new. Keep visiting the channel, and please do keep sharing the videos with people whom I believe may be waiting to hear this message and learn from it. Until next time, ladies, do connect with me again. God bless.
So there you have it, queens. Hope you had been inspired by today's video and that you'll go out and be more and do more because you deserve a full life. Before you go, remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of this inspiring content, and do share my link with your circle of queens. Until next time, keep inspiring.